All right, ladies and gentlemen, good Tuesday morning. Welcome aboard day two of our full throttle live trading. Let me ditch these. Man, we have a lot to talk about. A lot going on. We're going to talk about Oracle, NVIDIA. I shot a bear call spread on NVIDIA that's up 70% in one day, 1,200 bucks. I'm going to close that trade in a couple minutes here. Good stuff going on. We have a lot to cover today. So make sure you watch, if you couldn't attend yesterday, the welcome aboard brief, where I pulled today's brief forward to yesterday to do a bullish on America trade. And if you didn't attend, I don't have time to rebrief that. So you can go watch the replay. The replay is posted on the replay page. This replay will be posted on the replay page tomorrow and Thursday as well. So there's the replay page. Yesterday's trade will move down a little bit in its own little square over here, and today's replay will be at the top. So all four briefs from this week will be on that page right there. Okay, today, since I did the bullish on America trade, I pulled it forward. We're going to talk about AI and all the news yesterday. It's comical. If you just looked at the headlines, well, I'm not going to steal my thunder. I'm going to get that in a little bit. Pound it into the dirt. It is 2,000 all over again. Yesterday's NVIDIA, Oracle, OpenAI, it's a self-licking ice cream cone. Did you actually read under the headline? It's remember the term from the dot-com boom, vaporware? It's vaporware, folks, and we're going to dig into it. So as of me jumping on the air, I think it's 17 now. We have 17, not 19. We have 17 memberships left. Let's go over there. Let me give you the membership page to join. So today, yesterday, tomorrow is full throttle. And then Thursday will be solo Amazon. So let's just review this real quick because we closed the doors at when we were going to get 25 this week. $29.95. Hell, I just made that in 2 days with a sniper trade and my NVIDIA trade. How's the NVIDIA trade looking? This portfolio is up $32,000 month to date. You're welcome. 70, let me round up, 70%. I'm closing this trade. So there you go. I'll put in an order for 20 cents, 70%, 1,300 bucks. Let me show you how these trade alerts work. 1,300 bucks, 70% in a couple hours. You're welcome. I'll go over to my hunters. So this was it yesterday. You see this trade? Posted it right there. NVIDIA, a weekly bear call spread. On yesterday's pop, I sold into it right at the top. I sold a 187.5, 190 bear call spread, right? And now I'm closing it. Not even 24 hours later at everyone. Closing for 70%. Or if you did the number of contracts I did, that's a $1,300 profit. I close credit spreads, folks, and we'll get into this. My SOP, standard operating procedure, 789. If I'm looking, not you, I don't know what you do. If I am looking at a 70, 80, or 90% profit on the credit I took in, I close it. Why? Pigs get slaughtered. I ain't a pig. 789. And then I'll post the closing trade in there as well with this alert and blast it out to the close to 300 members in the hunters right now. Okay. I'll also post this in my lifetime group. So there we go. So everybody just got an alert. Go over to my lifetime. My most elite membership here is the lifetime group. We got 217 people right there. So I'll put the closing trade right there. Awesome. And NVIDIA is going to continue to fade. It's at a triple top right now. The news yesterday was bullshit, and I'm going to dig into it. But glad you just got to see live that I essentially paid for a membership, right? Men lie, trades don't. So there you go. I did a sniper too. So essentially I paid in a day for a full throttle membership or 2 months of your hunter's trial. right? If you had joined yesterday and you got that NVIDIA trade, you just made $1,300. That is essentially 2 months of the hunters. So these two on the right, folks, this is obviously a 50% discount. If you do the hunters every month for 12 months, thank you. I'll send you a Christmas present, but that's dumb. Try it out for a couple months so you get access to the hunters, our investment club, and then upgrade to the full throttle annual. You save 50%. Most people start right here. Okay, that's $29.95 for a year. This is the really tire kicker. You want to continue for the next couple months checking out what I do? It's $295. You get access to Options Weapon School, the manuals, and the 2 live trade briefs each week. You do not get access to the hunters. So this kind of continues a trial, so to speak. You're in a free trial. I give you 4 days of live trading and training. That's your free trial for the week. Okay. So just close that NVIDIA trade. Happy with that. So I'm making an audible today because, you know, a lot of folks on the AI, the NVIDIA, the Oracle, we got to talk. We're going to talk through that in a couple minutes. Tomorrow, we're going to do AR. Did you see pre-market? I posted some great intel from Christian Angermeyer on a tie, even better stuff on a tie, folks. In early July, Atai reported great data for its BPL 003, 5-MeO DMT. But what happens if you use it twice? The results are even better. Much better, ladies and gentlemen. I know a blockbuster drug when I see one. I hate the word drug, and this is one in the making. The guy has $100 million in his company. He's obviously got some interest in the stock doing well. But I've sat with 5-MeO DMT and it saved and changed my life. Are you in a tie? I will show you tomorrow. Exactly, Bruce. Thank you. I will show you tomorrow my psychedelic names that I am long-term bullish on. Okay, so that is AR, accelerated retirement. That's how you're going to accelerate your retirement. You're going to be bullish on a sector that is going to potentially save and change the world and your portfolio. And then we'll close on Thursday with Solo Amazon, right? That's our gateway drug, so to speak. That's our entry-level service, only $97 a month. So if you're not ready for full throttle, you got to at least do Solo Amazon. That is the no-brainer, only $97 a month. I already gave you the replay page, so you can watch everything on there. Okay, a couple admin items before we get started. I got an email from 2 people yesterday about Maverick Mind. So there's the link. If you want to, you know, you might have heard of microdosing. Microdosing's all the rage. Wall Street Journal articles. It's the new glass of wine for female Wall Street or executives or whatever. Well, folks, we have a microdosing product. We have Maverick Mind, which I take in the morning. It's called Morning Brief. I take 2 of these when I get up, meditate for 20 minutes, and I usually go to yoga Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Tuesday, Thursdays, I do my mastermind brief with a bunch of 500-pound heads, and you're going to hear what they had to say this morning. And then obviously night duty, man. This thing, I used to have a horrible time sleeping. 1, sometimes 2, depending on what's going on. About an hour before bed, I sleep like a baby. I wake up with no sleep hangover or anything like that, ready to start the day. These are 100% legal, right? All the mushrooms and nootropics, lion's mane, reishi, all sorts of good stuff in here, 100% legal. I have an incredible announcement to make because, as I told you in the past, this is where we're going to, right? So under Sacred Warrior Fellowship and Entheogenic Church, I'm going to be launching a new line of microdosing products that will have psilocybin in them. And it will be 100% legal. I have something called the First Amendment and the Religious Freedom Restoration Act. So that's coming, man. I've been busy as hell with folks and attorneys and this and all sorts of stuff. So, but I just want to let you know that that is coming. But remember, ladies and gentlemen, you technically don't need psilocybin to get the benefits of a psilocybin. What do I mean by that? When Nixon, I was going to say something bad, but I won't. God rest his soul. How about I say that? When he declared a war on drugs because people were taking psilocybin and not wanting to go kill people they never met before on the other side of the planet. He said, well, that's clearly subversive. Those are now illegal. Thank God. Uncle Sam didn't take the time to look into like about 20, 30 other mushroom strains. So the mushroom strains in Maverick Mind are 100% legal. And thankfully, Uncle Sam never got around to looking into other stuff. So you can get the exact same benefits of psilocybin microdosing with these. But under the church, under Sacred Warrior Fellowship, I'm working with PhDs. I'm working with a bunch of folks to I'm not going to steal my own thunder. Okay. So, and obviously that's just a placeholder of our website. I am busy doing a bunch of stuff for our church folks, but for those of you who are interested, there you go. Get Maverick Mind is right there. Oh, and yeah, the one lady asked about merch too. It's all on the same page. So if you just click next right here, you can get your cool Maverick Mind merch. There's our hoodie. There's our Maverick Mind hats. Those come in you just specify black or white. There's the black one. This is the No Fallen Heroes hat. If you watched SEAL Team and My Brother from Another Mother, AJ Buckley, he wore that last season as his hat. Each season, Sonny had his hat. He's on our board for our foundation. So AJ Buckley wore that last season. You can go watch it. And then obviously our shirt right there. So go get some merch, folks. The microdoses and the merch go to No Fallen Heroes Foundation to support healing grants. Debbie took a picture of her with our merch on and put it on Twitter. We really appreciate that, Debbie. Thank you for your support. Okay. That's about it for our admin. Like I told you yesterday, man, we're not going to have too much more admin as we go forward. I'm going to jump in and treat this like a regular member brief. Everybody should be subscribed to to the Top Gun Options YouTube page, because I post all the replays on here as well. Obviously on the replay page, but you should be on here anyway because I post a whole host of content on here. Okay, let's go. Let's get airborne. We talked about this yesterday. I'm actually going to I'm making a decision. I'll get there when we get tactical. Remember, SOT. This is the flow of the Top Gun Options brief. You're going to get a strategic brief, then operational, and then we'll get tactical and trade. A government shutdown is coming, period. I heard more vitriol and hate yesterday out of Democrats from Orange Man bad, and we're going to shut the government down. Okay. And obviously Trump is like, make my day. So it's coming. Remember, in this market, folks, we are extremely tactical. An hour in this market is a lifetime. So when we talk in AR tomorrow, we're gonna get out of the front month, right? What's a front month? You're sitting in the front month. September, October, November. I mean, this is just love him or hate him, folks. The guy just doesn't. He's talking at the UN right now. Love him or hate him. It's every time he opens his mouth, it's news or potentially market moving. If you don't like any of that, tomorrow when we get an AR, accelerated retirement, be done with this. Take a look at long-term bullish positions. Markets tend to go up and to the right over time. I covered this yesterday. So you don't have to trade all this craziness in the front month. I enjoy it. Shooting a shot on NVIDIA and Oracle and all sorts of stuff like that. My S&P 500 shots. Getting bullish on Amazon for the next couple months for the Santa Claus rally. I do both, right? We trade the hell out of the front months and then leave our long-term bullish positions in a filing cabinet as they just continue to go up and to the right. For example, SIBO, CBOE. Take a look at a chart of the SIBO, right? The SIBO is where every options contract is traded. It is the bank. Take a look at like a 5-year chart of SIBO. Does anybody see a trend, man? This thing moves up and to the right. You do a tactic called synthetic stock on SIBO and you will print money. It is put it in your retirement account, man. What's that? 172% return. That's in the stock, right? In 2020, folks, If you had bought SIBO, just bought the stock, you'd be up 172%. If you did the synthetic stock, like our TGO members do, like I do, you are up quadruple digits, man. It is the gift that keeps on giving. So we'll talk about longer term bullish trades. Here's why I went on that little bit of a tangent, because either today or tomorrow, we're going to cover the NVIDIA bubble popping. But this is a tactical trade. I told you yesterday, we covered a bullish trade out about a year or so on the S&P 500. Why? Because every time in the past, the Fed has cut rates within 2% of an all-time high, the market rips the following 12 months. However, 50% of the time, when the Fed cuts within 2% of all-time highs, the next 30 days, it's a coin flip. Sometimes the market goes up, sometimes the market goes down. This time, it will go down because in a week, probably from today, a week from today, folks, is September 30th. At midnight on September 30th, it ends this fiscal year for the government. We will know by this time next year how ugly things will be. People aren't even looking at this yet, but that's why you're here, right? Today it's the Oracle, OpenAI, NVIDIA deal, which was, it's vaporware. We'll talk about it in a second. So I want to, when we get tactical, I'm going to let the Lord guide me whether or not I'm going to show you the trudge that I have on to the middle of October, or we're going to pound the AI bubble into the dirt. It just got worse yesterday. So I'll feel what I want to do when I get to it, when we get tactical. And no, I'm not going to do both because you need to join. If you're a member, I do all of this stuff. If you're free, I'm just going to do one of those things. So Jerome is actually speaking today. I mean, we got the president talking today, but Powell is talking at 12:35. And you see this little red flame? It says high impact expected. Where is he talking? Due to speak about the economic outlook, oh boy, at the Greater Providence Chamber of Commerce. So it's interesting. And yesterday, we got a bunch of Fed lieutenants who spoke. Mirren is the is the Trump appointee. Just got to the Fed. He voted last week for what? A 50 basis point cut. Didn't get it, obviously. So it's always interesting that after a Fed meeting, Bostic is speaking, another Fed lieutenant. And Goolsbee was just on CNBC this morning. Goolsbee, however you say it. After a Fed meeting, ladies and gentlemen, the Fed lieutenants usually run out to a microphone and try and clean up what happened or reinforce what happened. So we'll see. We could see some volatility at 12:35 today when Jerome Powell speaks at that thing. Maybe he's going to clarify some things he said last week. He sounded confused, lost, and he didn't know what to do, in my opinion. Does he bring the heat today? A little bit more heat, like, jobs might be soft, but inflation's way too high, and we're going to do something about it. I don't know what he's going to say, but that's potential. The New York Times is no friend to the administration, but this was a great headline a couple days ago. The Fed has no good options as hiring wobbles and inflation picks up. I talked about this yesterday. What do we call it when inflation is imploding? Well, we call it a recession or bad. What do they call it? Stag. Well, inflation was at 2.9% 2 weeks ago. Wiz, the CPI, it keeps going up. Ooh, so we got inflation. So we are in the horrific position of stagflation. The Fed cutting rates in a stagflationary environment hasn't been good in the past. I'm going to leave it for that. But if you're sitting there going, well, dude, why did you just do a bullish trade yesterday a year out? You are confused or you don't know what you're doing. The market, the stock market, is not the economy. As a matter of fact, since 2008, the crappier the economy is doing, the better the stock market could be doing. What? You heard me. Why? Because in this country, everybody gets a trophy. Because in this country, if the economy's really sucking, here comes Uncle Sam. Here comes Republicans to blow out deficit spending. Here comes the Fed printing more money out of thin air. Here comes Treasury Secretary Bessent to buy their own debt. Wouldn't it be great if you could sit here with your home printer and buy your own debt out of thin air? Nobody's been able to answer that question for me. If Jerome Powell can print money out of thin air, how come he couldn't print me a little bit of money to pay my taxes from last year? So always remember, ladies and gentlemen, the stock market is not the economy. And in the new market since 2018, the crappier the economy gets, the better the market can do. This is why mom and pop on Wall Street hate Wall Street. They're getting hammered. They can't afford hot dogs. They're seeing prices rising all over the place. Why is the evil? We're part of it, right? The evil 3% in this country who know what they're doing and invest in the stock market. As an American, I hate it. As Gordon Gekko and Jordan Belfort, I love it. I love it. I love printing money on the stupidity of others. Didn't cover this yesterday. I'm covering it today. U.S. investors are flush with cash and happy to keep it there. This adds to yesterday's commit criteria. What's commit criteria? Did you print out your trade plan and look at step 3? It says commit criteria. 3 to 5 sentences of why I'm committing capital to a trade. This should have been in your commit criteria yesterday. Money market funds reached another record this month with $7.7 trillion in assets. Look at that. Look at this. Since this is a 12-year chart, 8-year chart. Money market funds. Ladies and gentlemen, this is cash sitting where? On the sidelines. This adds to my commit criteria yesterday of bullish for the next 12 months. There is a ton of cash sitting on the sidelines. Well, Wiz, what if the market implodes? Then this cash could potentially leave the sidelines. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, with the Fed cutting interest rates, how's that help money market funds? This is bullish, folks. Okay, so let's just sit here and laugh. I'm going to take you through this. Did you see what happened to NVIDIA last week? The Chinese government ordered companies to stop using NVIDIA chips. That happened last week. Oh my God. What? Yeah. Like from the Department of Un-Chinese Activities, if you buy NVIDIA chips, we will have you shot. Oh my God, that's horrific news for NVIDIA. Hey, Wiz, that might be part of the trade negotiations with Trump. Yeah, I get that. I said that to you. However, that cannot be, that's not bullish for NVIDIA. Trade war between Washington and Beijing further ensnares America's most valuable company. And ladies and gentlemen, let me be blindingly clear. I don't want to steal too much from my Thursday solo Amazon brief. NVIDIA is a basket full of one egg. Amazon has Amazon Air, bigger than FedEx and UPS. It has Amazon Pharmacy that put Walgreens and CVS out of business. It's got AWS, which is its own. They're building their own NVIDIA chips that will be cheaper and more powerful. I'm not going to get into all of it. You want to talk about putting all of your eggs in a single basket? It is NVIDIA. Can I order NVIDIA groceries at home? No, I'm sorry. That was Amazon. Do they have NVIDIA entertainment division? No, that's Amazon Prime, which is bigger than Netflix. So ladies and gentlemen, this is very dangerous, but I need to step you through this. So a week to the day after horrifically bearish news on, and look at this, folks, this is a 1, 2, 3. It's like a quadruple. Where did we pop yesterday and failed? This is a, let's just say triple. This is a triple top. That is not bullish. When something hits a triple top and fades, it's, in my history, bearish. This thing has a ways to implode. Did I get filled on closing that NVIDIA trade? Nope. I'm going to hang. I mean, 64%, 13. Let me analyze. Let me show you this trade. It's a $2,000 trade, folks. If there's an 87% probability of making $2,000 on the NVIDIA bear call spread. So if it doesn't get filled, I'm okay. All right, so let's keep going because I'm building a court case. 1 week to the day after China says no NVIDIA chips in our country, which will destroy 30 to 40% of their revenue. NVIDIA to invest up to $100 billion in OpenAI. Chipmaker will make its investment in OpenAI to support data center and power capacity. First of all, OpenAI is a private stock, or it's not owned by anybody. Huh. Okay. Let's dig a little bit more. Okay. So the chip makers part. So, and this headline to me, to some of you, might be incredibly bullish. How NVIDIA is backstopping America's AI boom. If you read that, so this is why you want to be a Top Gun Options, because we can red team and bounce ideas off of each other. If you were sitting by yourself in your robe and your bunny slippers and you read that headline, most of you would go, "That's fantastic. I'm buying AI." Here at Top Gun Options, we have the ability to go, that is a SPF. That is a single point of failure. So you're telling me this entire AI bubble is resting on a single company? When I read a headline like that, I am taught to what? Contingency plan and look at the potential bad. So that's why when we get tactical, I still haven't made the decision yet. I'm going to show you 2 trades. One, if you believe that the AI boom is fantastic and everything's great, and one, if you don't. So the chipmakers partnership with OpenAI has helped reset market expectations about the startup's finances. That's been a big problem to date. Nobody knows what the bottom right cell of the Excel sheet will be or should be. It's all air. If you were here last month at Top Gun Options, you would have seen the Wall Street Journal article I posted about a ton of computer software engineer graduates who, up until this year, were walking into $165,000 a year jobs right out of college. This article took a massive deep dive into how they are at Starbucks. None of them in the article could get an interview. Why? AI is coding itself. I told you about 1st through 3rd year law school graduates at their firms can't get hired. Firms are using AI to do all the legwork that 1st through 3rd year junior, or not even partners, attorneys used to do. Gone. I'm not going to rattle through all this stuff, folks. But this AI boom, again, I don't see it. This would be the only bubble in the history of bubbles that didn't pop. But let's dig into the deal right now. Because I'm going to be honest with you, folks, I was confused. When I looked at a flow, I kind of wrote it on my whiteboard. I'm like, the 100 million to this is going to that, and the 100 million is coming back to NVIDIA. Well, wait a minute. And I love my mastermind group, and I love this stuff, being able to ping stuff off people, because I'm like, am I the only person seeing that that's a complete Ponzi scheme? There's no money going anywhere. It's going to each other. Let's go dig into it. I love that. Yeah. So listen to this. In the late stage of the everybody in here old enough to remember 25 years ago? I was sitting in the ready room of a Marine fighter training squadron in Myanmar doing this stuff. In the late stage of the dot-com era, when the stars of that period were feeling the pressure of slowing growth and weakening demand, they relied on what? PRs, LOIs, memorandum of understandings, round-tripping barter transactions, and vendor financing. I remember this. The recent Oracle, OpenAI, NVIDIA, OpenAI announcements may indicate we are approaching a similar stage. I therefore expect more of this hype until it all collapses. And suddenly, companies will announce a slowdown in demand as occurred in autumn of 2000, misleading investors like they have never seen this. Like, oh my God, I can't believe all of this stuff. Right? Let's keep going. So let me get this straight. This is what I did last night. And then I saw this guy's tweet. I'm like, okay, I feel good. So let me get this straight. Oracle says OpenAI committed $300 billion for cloud compute. Oracle stock jumps, the best day since 92. Oracle runs NVIDIA GPUs, has to buy billions in chips from NVIDIA. NVIDIA just announced they're investing $100 billion into OpenAI. OpenAI uses, there is no investment, ladies and gentlemen. It's so funny because look at people. Well, I'm not going to show you all the pictures, but yeah, they're the infinite money glitch. So today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to show you a lot of these pictures because they're not, this is a family show. But I'm glad I wasn't the only one that saw this is complete bullshit. Well, do you follow this? It's all nothing. The last sentence of the NVIDIA OpenAI press release said what? NVIDIA and OpenAI look forward to finalizing the details of this new phase of strategic partnerships when in the coming weeks. Oh my God, folks. So smart investors see through things. Here's the contra take. The top will put an end to the AI CapEx bubble, not the other way around. When did I nailed this too, folks? The meta. When did Zuck stop torching billions? What was the final number? 12 to 15? Do you remember the metaverse, Jim Cramer? I'm going to go put these things on and go in and interview Mark Zuckerberg. And his body looks like a Weeblo, and so does mine. And I can't, what? When the share price collapsed by 75%, Jim Cramer was crying on TV. That said, no one knows when the top will occur, clearly. But that's what will put an end to this madness, right? This is a good take. Listen to this. Just a reminder from everyone trying to call the top. Larry Page has said internally at Google many times, I'm willing to go bankrupt rather than lose this race. Whoa. Everybody is focused on ROI, but the people making the decisions are not. Holy crap. There's a lot of good stuff in here, man. So, and because they have this belief, they're going to spend until I think there is irrefutable evidence that scaling laws are slowing. Wow. NVIDIA sold so many shovels in the AI gold rush that its bank accounts are full. With that money now, it's buying the gold miners too, right? NVIDIA essentially bought 20% of OpenAI in exchange for $100 billion of shovels. This is called moving up the value chain. Also, having skin in the game, why do so many people think it's financial engineering? Because it is. So, folks, this is, well, that's the Atai stuff we'll talk about tomorrow. So, folks, couple things. I feel good because, first of all, back in 2000, we wouldn't be, we didn't have this, right? Top Gun options. I'm getting ready to go be a rich airline pilot and fly fighters in the reserves, man. Going to Chicago and helping run a multi-billion-dollar volatility arbitrage firm wasn't even in the cards yet. But we didn't have any of this stuff, right? I used to just read the journal and look at the headline like, wow, that's the most bullish thing I've ever heard. Now you have X, you have Top Gun options. We can talk through these things. So the AI bubble, in my opinion, or let's just, I'm going to lead. I'm going to try and be independent here as your flight instructor. And then I'll tell you what I'm thinking. All bubbles, folks, if you don't know about the tulip bubble, Google that. If you're an investor, you should know about the tulip bubble. There hasn't been a bubble in the history of buying things that hasn't popped. This one will be different. Do you know how many times people said that in every bubble? No. This time will be. Do you know how many? So whatever. You can be that person. Wiz, you're an idiot. Distinct possibility. I'm buying this with both hands right now. It's going to infinity. But let me ask you a couple questions real quick. The internet, right? Even that bubble popped. To me, that actually did things. It made jobs. Hell, we got TikTok ladies making millions of dollars on makeup tutorials. My daughter Keely, I'm like, what are you watching? Well, this lady's got 7 million followers and all the makeup companies pay her. And she each morning shows us how to get ready. I'm like, what? So at least the internet it created commerce. PayPal was built, all sorts of shit like that. Again, with AI, and I know we have some super AI bulls in this room, I'm seeing nothing but jobs going away. Hell, the people in California frothing at the mouth for $25 minimum wage, they got it, and then McDonald's got rid of all of their positions. Now there's kiosks you order from. You want 25 bucks in minimum wage? It's a terminal now. Where's that one McDonald's where there's not a human in the McDonald's? They like show up in the morning and they put the food like in the systems, and the AI does all of it. I just told you about the recent computer graduates that can't find a job. Computers, well, the AI, no. I am telling you, ladies and gentlemen, I couldn't agree more with my AI bulls. Absolute disruptor. Disruptors can be horrors. Go watch the movie Transcendence, Transcendence with Johnny Depp. So you have a choice, right? The first thing you can do is nothing. I don't get it. So I'm going to stick to my core stuff. Got it. Second thing you could do is wait for the pop, right? You could wait for the turn. Thinking the air is starting to come out of this, because I doubt it'll be a singular event, right? Singularity. I doubt it'll be a breaking news. Wall Street Journal just reported that the AI bubble popped. That's not how things happen. Did you watch The Big Short? The housing implosion. Bubbles usually aren't, quote, breaking news. It's a Steve Austin plane crash going down the runway. It develops. But guess who makes filthy money? People who get that right. Weeks ago, I covered a put back spread on NVIDIA that will print money when, not if, NVIDIA pops. The AI bubble pops. Okay. Now, the next thing you can do is disagree with me. Wrong. I am going to be that person that says this is the AI bubble that will not pop. Okay. So, you could I'll do it. I will show you do you want to do this? Or do we want to look at a trudge? Because tomorrow I'm talking psychedelics. Let's do a vote. Do you want a 30-day trudge? If you become a member, you'll get both. If you believe the government's going to shut down in the next couple of weeks, the market's going to pull back, folks. The S&P is already pulling back. Should have shot a bear call spread. I was in my zone ranting. Look at that. Nvidia's down 2% right now. Told you yesterday I shot that bear call spread right here. Nvidia. So let me give you a quick chart analysis. Yesterday, Nvidia gapped up. I drew a line right here at 180. It filled the gap. So now, if something gaps up and fills the gap and hovers, it's usually bearish. If something gaps up, fills the gap, and goes up, it's bullish. So right now, as you can see today, folks, NVIDIA is trying to make a decision. Are we going to, no, that's it. Or are we going to rally? So I'm glad I'm taking profits here, but I think it's to the downside here. Okay. But that's a little technical analysis for you. Wow. Everybody's voting for the Tredge. Okay. And most of those are current TGO members. Why? Because they actually have their NVIDIA on. You know what? I'm going to be nice. I took my Maverick mine today. I am going to give you the free people. I'm going to hook you up. I'm in a good mood. Even when I'm in a bad mood, I should be in a good mood. Why? Because God is good. So right there, ladies and gentlemen, for all the free peoples, go look at those 2 documents I just loaded. You're getting X. This is why when I used to go to like the Money Show or the whatevers, I used to need security. I needed Secret Service agents because some of I don't have competitors, but some people would be like, your Full Throttle's bullshit. Why don't you at least charge like $100 for the week? I mean, I'm like, because I'm actually proud of what I do. I give so much shit away because then when the week's over with, they want more. No, charge them something to enter. So, thank you, Paul. So there's your NVIDIA tactic, not a strategy. That tactic goes out to when somebody just asked, when do you think the AI bubble is going to pop? Immediate answer, I have no clue. The right answer is on that sheet. I put a trade on out into the future that is bearish and will print money when, not if it pops. I give that trade a little bit of time to work. Okay. So I sit here for a little bit. One more time. Gapped yesterday, hovered. Today we opened and filled the gap. I think it's lower for NVIDIA. Okay. Now, since people are asking, I'll be nice. Oops, I need to reline here. We are at all-time highs. I need a line at 66.75. I need to drop my lines in here. There's a 50. Why are you doing this, Wiz? Because the S&P 500 moves in $25 it doesn't move it moves in whatever dollar increments. These are magnets, as you can see. S&P gets pulled up to a 25 or down to a 25. Okay, that's what we're looking at. So here's what I'm going to do. I already have the position on, but I'm going to rebuild it here with you all. Let me go look at the strikes here. A pen. Let me see if these are still valid. 68, 100, 68.05. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I'm writing this stuff down here, 64.50, 25. See if these are still good. As I'm getting stuff set up here, folks, I want to remind you, or not remind you, if you're new to Top Gun options, which we have a lot of people. This tactic I'm going to introduce you to is called a Tredge. What's a Tredge? Well, when I place a trade, it's going to make money. I don't place a trade if I think it's going to lose money. That's stupid. Okay. Well, what's the edge part? A hedge. You all should know what the term hedge means. I've heard of hedge funds. Well, technically, 95% of hedge funds are not, in fact, hedged. Hedged means what? A hedge fund technically means we make money in any market condition. Might not be a ton up or a ton down, right? It's consistent. The couple that owned the firm in Chicago, the wife, that was her motto. She's like, we may not make the most money at any given point. We make it consistently. That's what hedge means. But anyway, hedge, I don't mind losing money. Why? Because it's protection. If you sit at your desk once a month and write a check to State Farm or USAA and you're pissed because you're, quote, losing money, you're weird. First of all, I haven't done that in years. It's on auto debit. Oh, USAA, whatever, just hit. I love having that for when Matthew got rear-ended in his Jeep, or when our roof got ripped apart. And folks, if you think you're, quote, losing money on insurance, you're a weird person, right? So I squeeze those two concepts together and I call it a tredge. It's a trade that I'm pretty damn sure is going to make money, and it will serve as a hedge to protect my long-term bullish positions. I have Amazon, I have SIBO, I have JP Morgan, I have psychedelic names. I have long-term bullish positions in my account. And if we get hammered in the next 30 days due to a government shutdown, they're going to be red. They're going to get a little hammered too. But this trade will make money and protect them a little bit. I'll make some profit off those and maybe go buy some more of my long-term bullish positions. So look at the trend since the tariff bottom, ladies and gentlemen. Bounce off the 20, 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 bounce off the 20. Keep ripping. That's not going to happen. Can it? Yes. Will it? No. So we are way, way overbought here. We are way extended over the 20-day moving average. Let me go 3 months. And we are due. Absolutely. The mid-June to August run was a lot. And then we slammed through the 20. Okay. Now, what would cause the slam? I already told you, man. Have you not been watching the news? If you haven't, good on you, because it sucks. I love when members are like, dude, I don't watch the news anymore. I get my news from Top Gun Options. I appreciate that. But ladies and gentlemen, let's just read this together. Everybody together. Senate Democrats block GOP spending bill as shutdown approaches. Democrats demand Republicans add $1 trillion in healthcare funds. Holy crap. Do you think the man speaking at the UN right now is going to say, you know what? Give Schumer what he wants. Give Minority Leader Jeffries what he wants. I don't want to shut down. Trump feels he's got airspeed on his jet right now. It'll be the Schumer shutdown. I can already write the press releases next week, folks. So before I get into the tactic, Wiz, you're wrong. Ain't no shutdown going to happen and the market's going to rip. You would do the exact opposite of the trade I'm going to map out. That's the best part about being a Top Gun Options and an options trader. Wiz, you're full of it today. I'm taking the other side of that trade. Guess what happened? Folks, that's exactly how this works. I'm bearish on NVIDIA a year and a half into the future. You're an idiot. I think the AI boom is going to solve cancer and the market goes to infinity. Great. That's what makes a market. There is somebody on the other side of your trade thinking the exact opposite of you. So remember, whenever I'm digging into something and I'm losing you, do the opposite. The vast majority of the time, you will be wrong. And I have the data to prove it. Here we go. S&P 500, folks. SPX. I told you yesterday, I just saved you a ton of cash. I do not trade SPY. It is an ETF. My tax treatment is worse trading an ETF over the actual index. The ETF also settles in cash. If you have no idea what that means, you didn't join yet, and you didn't watch your options weapon school training. Give yourself 50 push-ups, join, and then choke yourself. So here's what I'm going to do. We're going to go out a month on the S&P 500. Why a month, Wiz? Because I don't know how long this is going to last. Somebody said yesterday in the Oval Office or wherever, like, we fully expect the market to shut down, or the government. It was Trump, because he did. He goes, I expect it. That's right. It was Trump. He goes, I fully expect the government shut down. But he's already inoculating, right, what the liberal media is going to froth at the mouth about. Seniors in Boca Raton aren't getting their checks. Yeah, they will. The military won't get paid. Absolutely, they will get paid. So we will see some kabuki theater in the next 7 days. I don't know when it's going to reopen. So I already told you that the Treasury Secretary has said, I can keep us going because I can jump on the Excel sheet, log into this, and move that over to there, and change puppy and make it small dog, and we'll go for a little bit. I forget the longest one under Obama. Was it a week? Was it 4 days? So I don't know. Be present, Wiz. Take your morning brief. This could be worse. The hate and vitriol in Washington for this man is just off the charts. So I'm mumbling through why I went out to October 25th. What's the S&P going to be trading at on October 25th, Wiz? My call sign's Wiz, not Nostradamus. But I'm going to show you how I can predict with pretty good certainty now. How can I do that, ladies and gentlemen? Well, the S&P 500, as I'm talking to you, is priced at 66.90. There, I went out to October 25th, which is the third Friday of the month, and I went to 66.90. Look at the puts, right? The puts are priced at 79.55 or whatever, okay? I'm going to say 80 because I'm bad at math. Now look at this. The at-the-money calls are priced at let's just say 99. What's that, 179 bucks or something like that? So why am I looking at these? Because it's a coin flip. If you think the market's going to implode by the third Friday in October, you'd buy these puts. If you think the market's going to rip, you would buy these calls. If you add them together, it gives you something called a straddle. Now, I'm not going to do the math. I can simply click on one of the put or the call. Just click here. It doesn't matter. And my drop down on each trade, I can go to straddle. And I'm going to go to October 25th. What did I say? 179? It's almost like I'm a genius and do this for a living. So, ladies and gentlemen, not Wiz, the options market is pricing in a $179 range, up and down. Let's go click on the image. I call this the Elizabeth Warren teepee for Pocahontas. With a 78% degree of probability, the options market, not Wiz, is pricing in the S&P 500 staying above 50, 65. Let me write this stuff down. 65.11. And staying below 68.70. I'll just round up. 68.70. All right. I'm using round numbers here. That's that to the green is where the options market. Folks, and remember this. I'm using the word at the money volatility. Remember, we make money where, ladies and gentlemen? We make money in the future. We have to project our thoughts forward in space-time to make a decision today. The at the money straddle will be different tomorrow. It'll be different tomorrow, right? So last week, when I did this trade for my members, the at the money straddle was completely different. I placed this trade based on that, okay? So this is today's at the money straddle. It is options pricing. It ain't me. Now let's just go map that out. So obviously 68.70 to the top. We've never been there before, but we've been through 65.12. Let's go look at where that is. 65.12 is essential. Well, 6,500 was what? Resistance, resistance, pop through it, resistance. So 6,500 was kind of a Battle of Britain area for a little bit, wasn't it? So the at the money straddle, and obviously the upside we've never seen. 68.70 would be up here. So out into the future, the middle of October, this is the range, using my rough drawings, of what the S&P will be in that range. Okay? So there's a couple things we can do. First thing is nothing. I'm going to sit here and watch it, Wiz. The second thing is, well, wait a minute, Wiz. I currently trade options. I'm a TGO member. I might put on a tactic called an iron condor. You could drive an 18-wheeler through that at the money straddle, Wiz. Why don't we put on a tactic called an iron condor? I think it's going to stay in that range. Good on you. That's a tactic called iron condor. I think Options Weapon School Session 6 you will learn about. You, if you are looking at this, are trading in a vacuum. I would like a move like that, but I'm not putting it on because this has government shutdown right about here, which could be that, which would blow out of the bottom of your iron condor, right? So you, one more time, are the tick. You're the trader in command, not me. I don't fly your portfolio. I don't trade it. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm showing you what I'm doing. The next thing you could do, if you don't like that, is what? Maybe just put the roof on it. Wiz, I think we are way extended. We're way overbought up here. Record highs. The air's starting to already come out of the NVIDIA deal as people realize it's vaporware. It's that deal to create this deal to the 100 million just got passed around to everybody. Exactly. I'm just going to put a roof on it. So let's start this trudge with the roof. Okay. And one more thing I'm going to do that I'll explain to you when you become a member. Let's go look at the max pain for SPX on November on the third Friday of October, which is October 17th. So I want to look at the October 17 expiration for SPX. If you don't know what this is, don't worry about it. I'll explain it when you become a member. And it takes a while for the strikes to build in here. Let's go. And it's taking forever. All right, let me see if it built it. Nope, it's taking too long. All right, I'm just going to stick with, let's just start building this trade, and maybe once it loads all the options data, we'll go back to it. Let's go. Okay. All right, so let's put the roof on it. 68.75. Let's go look at 68.75. This is where the at the money straddle was. It was technically 68.70, right? This is literally the at the money straddle for October 25th today. It's $1.10 credit, right? Let's just go take a look at this. You're risking $3.90 to make $1.10. 87% probability. Okay. That is, there's not going to be a ton of premium. It hits my minimum 1.25 risk to reward for a credit spread. That's my SOP. You'll learn about this when you join. So I'm going in a little bit. What did I say? SPX moves in 25 and 50s and round numbers. Let's go down to 68.50. I like this one a lot better. It's a lot meatier at $1.30. You're risking 370 to make $1.30. Really nice risk to reward ratio here. Okay. Wiz, I know we're going to shut down and we're over. It's the market's going to use that as an excuse to sell off. I like 68.25. I probably do too. $1.55 credit. You're risking 345 to make $1.55. 80% probability. So this is the one I'm going to do. I'm going to step through this trade right now. I'm going to sell for now. I'll show you one contract and then I'll show you what I'll do for the model portfolio. I'm going to sell one October 25th, 68.25 call. That's me saying I don't think the S&P is going to be above 68.25 by the third Friday in October. That's the roof. Wiz, what if you're wrong? What if it keeps ripping? Well, I'm not selling that call by itself. I buy a call $5 above it in case it does start ripping. Okay. $1.50. I want you to write down right now on your trade card or wherever you keep track of your trades, write down maybe eject $3. I haven't even placed the trade, folks, and I'm talking about where I might eject to minimize my loss. I'm a political science major from South Jersey, right? South Philadelphia. I'm a pilot. I need quick reference things in my head. Double the credit you take in. You took in $1.50. If SPX starts ripping higher and this credit starts increasing, that's a bad thing. You want the credit to go down. If it hits $3, you need to go, should I eject out of this trade? You got to make that decision, not me. Why did SPX pop? It's this, that, the other thing. It's a short-term pop. We're going to fade again. Okay. It's up to you. This, ladies and gentlemen, by writing $3 down on your trading plan, it's a master caution light in your trading cockpit to go, okay, something's going on. It needs my attention. Okay. So I didn't even place this trade yet, and I'm telling you where I might eject. Okay. So remember, ladies and gentlemen, we want this credit. We don't want it to go up. We want it to go down. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, I like selling things. I like selling the used. In this case, you're the used car salesman. When you sell something, you bring in money. When you sell something, you like the Greek that you'll learn about in your options weapons school training called theta, time decay. Every day that goes by in this trade, you make a little bit of coin. You make some money. It's called time decay. All right. Now, let's go look at max potential loss. You never look there first at profit. You always look at loss. Are you okay with losing $350? Nope. Then don't look at potentially making $150. If you're not okay with that, don't ever look here. Are you okay with losing $350? Yes. Okay. Put a little check mark next to that and now look up here. All right. $150. 80% probability of making that. Okay. Now, we make money 3 out of 4 ways in a bear call spread. That's the name of this tactic. If the S&P 500 goes down between now and the third Friday in October, we make money. What if we just peak? We peaked and we're hovering for a couple weeks. You make money. Folks, S&P can even go up a little bit as long as it stays below that point right there, which is called what? The break even. 3 out of 4 ways you make money in this trade. What's the 1 out of 4 ways you lose? S&P rips through your break even and you don't eject. That's your fault, not mine. 1 out of 4 rip, we lose if it goes through the break even right there. But that's why I gave you on the previous screen a maybe eject point. I told you we're going to talk about risk management, and we are talking about risk management. I haven't even gotten to what I'm going to talk to right now, which is what? Profit, finally. 7, 8, 9. Write it down. If I am looking at a 70, 80, 90% profit on this credit I took in, close it. Why? Do you know how many times, hasn't happened in years because I hated when this happened, was Like the NVIDIA bear call spread, I'm up right now, 70% or whatever it was. You know how many times I'm like, I'm a pig. It's only Tuesday. That NVIDIA is going to keep imploding. I want the extra $800 in that trade. Breaking news, Jesus just came back to earth and he's the CEO of NVIDIA and the stock is up to infinity. Son of a bitch. I turned a 70% winning trade into a 100% loser. You will do that if you're a pig, and you will hate it and never want to do it again. Discipline, risk management equals superior execution. Do you understand me? Good. Now, what would you do in the model portfolio with 15 contracts? That would risk about $5,000, 5,200 to make 2,200, 5,300 to make 23. In a $100,000 model portfolio, I would risk 5% of it to make that. It's a high probability trade. So I'm going to take a screenshot of this because I'm going to blast out an alert with it. So this is step 2 of the government shutdown. What was step 1? Do nothing. Cash is a position. I don't know if the government's going to shut down, and even if it does, I don't know if the market's going to implode. Maybe the market will be relieved the government shutdown. Technically, it can't be, because remember, folks, what's going to happen to bonds? There are a bunch of old, stodgy, boring bond funds that say you have to invest in whatever it is, AAA, blah, blah, blah. And if this, I'm not going to get into it all, a government shutdown impacts the markets because a bunch of stodgy firms have to maneuver stuff around. That's a deeper discussion. Maybe when you join next week, I'll give you my government shutdown, why it impacts the market so much. Okay? Because there's, our government, the full faith and credit of our government will never shut down. So our boring fund makes a little bit of a percent because it never will. Oh, crap, it is. We have to do something. That's why. If you don't get that, join, and I'll give you that brief next week. Okay. I'm going to fire that trade. So that was the roof, ladies and gentlemen. You could just do that. Do nothing. Cash is a position. No trade is a trade. That's step 0. Step 1 is put the roof on it. We're overbought. We're overextended. Government shutdown coming. Wiz talks about a mid-September to mid-October shit show. I'm just going to put the roof on it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that roof that I just did brought in what? $2,300. Why don't I go use that money? All right. We put the roof on out here, and it was, let me put a little dollar sign. We got paid. We got paid by the market $2,300 to put a roof on the market. Why don't we go buy the basement that I mapped out? This will be a minus sign down here. It's a debit spread. Folks, I almost never in my life just do a debit spread. I hate the word debit. Debit your account, debit it, card, debit. I like credit. So why don't you have somebody pay for it? Exactly. So let's go look at the strikes that I mapped out. The bottom was what? 65.11. Let's just say, and folks, where is 6,500? It's in between the 20 and the 50 day. And what have I told you in the past? There is no life between moving averages. They either get pulled down or back up to. We haven't had a good smash to the 50 day in a long time. Let's go look. Excuse me. 9-month chart. Right? Back here, here's a perfect example of there's no life between moving averages. You see the violence that goes on when it's in between there? I call it trench warfare. It's war. Nobody runs around in no man's land, folks. He gets slaughtered. There's violence. It either gets pulled horrifically down or rebounds back up to it. We've had way too much quiet. Way too much quiet. All right, so let's start building the bear put spread. Let's start at 6,500. Right? We're putting the basement in right now. Excuse me. Buy 6,500. Buy a single October, same expiration, 6,500 put. Whoa, holy crap, Wiz. It's 3,500 bucks. You just brought in 2,300 there, Einstein. Your net out of pocket, what, 1,200 bucks? You could just do that. Not meaning just do the bear call spread and help it finance this. Don't ever be the guy or gal that says, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just going to buy this $3,000 put. Ew, ew, ew. Why are you buying a $3,000 put? I think the market's going to go down. Well, if you think the market's going to go down, you don't think it's going to go up too. Yeah, good point. Then put a you don't think it's going to go up trade on bear call spread that brings in money to buy the put. Now, I would never just do this. Technically, this put has what? Unlimited profit. Between now and the middle of October, if the S&P 500 goes to zero, you'll make 650 grand. Actually, you won't because you're going to be dead. We'll all be dead. If the S&P 500 is at zero in a month, Vladimir, Xi, and Trump all killed us. It's physically impossible. What are the odds of you making 650 grand? Zero. The odds of getting eaten by a golden retriever are never zero. But why don't we do something realistic? Wiz, I think it might smash down to that 6,500 level, but it ain't going to go through the 50. Why don't we sell a lower strike put? I don't know, like the 64.75. I do $25 increments on the put spreads. Wow. So wait a minute, Wiz. This trade, I'm spending $340. Well, I just brought in $2,300, so I'm still up $2,000. Yeah. Okay. You're risking $340 in this trade to make $2,200. Okay. So this is the one contract trade I would potentially look at. Guys, you're getting a live example of why we're only taking not 25, probably about 15 people, because there's so many questions right now. This is why we have tight, small member briefs, man. Towards the end of the brief, 11:11, make a wish. I will scroll up and answer questions, man. So, okay. Dennis, you got to go to options training. I knew that type of question would be in there. So, ladies and gentlemen, I brought in $2,300 in the bear call spread, didn't I? You saw it. I just did it. I'm going to do a number of contracts that's close to $2,300. So, ladies and gentlemen, I brought in $2,300 on the bear call spread. I'm going to spend $2,300 on the bear put spread. Now let's go look at the risk. You're risking 23 to make 15 grand. Along with the $2,300 in profit, technically, in the bear call spread. So ladies and gentlemen, if you followed me for years, you know that I loved Barack Hussein Obama. What? You heard me. Why? Because of the government shutdowns. If you weren't a member at the time, maybe you saw some of my free sit reps, like just made 15 grand, 11 grand on the shutdown. 1 potato, 2 potato. A week later, just made another 10, 15 grand on the opening. Is this hard? So, ladies and gentlemen, now you see how you can potentially make outsized returns. Now you see how I can make, this is why I like violent to the downside. Let me grab a screenshot of this bear put spread as well. I remember God loves the person you hate the most on this planet as much as you. I get it. SPX bear put spread. I'll backfill all the questions, folks. And if you have a ton of questions, since I'm running short on time, I'm going to point you in the direction of Options Weapon School Training Session 5. Ladies and gentlemen, this tactic, if I get filled on both of them, will be called a bearish double vertical. I'm actually glad we did this trade first. You guys are awesome. 923 metric. Before I answer questions, oh, and by the way, this is a debit spread. There's no way in hell I'm going to get filled at the bid. There's no way in hell I'm going to get filled at the mid. I'm going to have to walk it on up. If you come in at 360, you'll get filled immediately and you're going to be, quote, losing money. There's a magical happy place between the mid and the ask where somebody on the other side of this trade is going to go, all right, I'll fill them at that price. They're not going to fill you at a price that goes, I want to lose money immediately on that trade. With a debit spread, folks, it's almost impossible to get filled and be showing a profit. If you're the type of person that expects to be, as soon as I get filled, it should be green and profitable, you're miserable. You need to order your Get Maverick Mind. You will not. I think maybe in 34 years of doing this, I've gotten filled on a debit trade and like went and looked a minute later and it was green because the stock ripped out of the blue. Almost never happens. So do not be that person. So here's what I call it, to walk it on up. Let's just walk it on up. What's that mean? I place that trade. I'm going to go give this alert to my members. And then 10 minutes from now, I'm going to go back and look and go, I didn't get filled, and move it up. How much, Wiz? I don't know. A nickel? 10 cents? I don't know. Why don't you know? Because I don't know. I don't know where that magical point is between those two. Somebody does. All right. Over here in the Hunters, which you can join today. New Oct, if I could spell it, OC, Oct. SPX. I did this last week, so it's probably in there. New Oct 25. Bearish double vertical. I at everyone, so they all 280 in this room get the trade. Then I'm going to scroll down and I'm click the image on my desktop. There's the bear call spread. There's the metrics. This will be the bear put spread. Now, I could have placed this trade together. You could do all four of these. Oh man, it needs to be in the trade alerts. You could have placed these all together. Okay. Let me make sure my lifetime folks get this. If you got this last week, you're good to go. I wouldn't add this if you got one. If you got your Tredge on last week, you're good to go. So obviously don't double up. I mean, this is for all the free people in the room right now. You're welcome. As I'm posting all this stuff, I'm going to remind you, Wiz, you're wrong. Government ain't going to close. Hakeem Jeffries and Schumer are going to go to the White House and hug President Trump. Do a bullish double vertical. I don't know how to do a double vertical, Wiz. Well, you're going to join and you're going to go over to Options Weapons School and you're going to go do your double vertical training. So for everybody asking me questions right now, I should just be that guy that goes, yeah, no, not going to answer you. Options Weapons School 5, double verticals and burner trades. Listen to it. Listen to it again. Who is it? Catherine? I don't know if Catherine's in here. Our yoga buddy. Guess what? She's like, I've been watching the Options Weapons School training multiple times. That's the way to do it. There are people who are like, dude, I go back and watch the stuff all the time and I pick up something new each time. Okay. So before I answer any questions, it is time to join because what's that? 14, 15. There are only 15 memberships left. A couple people snagged during the brief. There she is. So folks, right here, that's the best deal. You save 50%. Annual membership, $29.95. Wiz, I want access to that Hunters. I want the app and the instant alerts, but I still want to try it for a little bit. $4.97 a month. And I'm not super ready for it all, but I want to keep going. $2.95. It's that easy. There's your different membership tiers. Just about everybody ends up in here. And 220 people ended up in lifetime. We can talk about that down the road. That's the super elite membership. All right, let me go back. Let's see if we got filled on any of these. Got filled on the bear call spread, but we're going to have to walk on up the debit spread. By what? I don't know. I ain't going there. I'll go in between the mid and the ask. Let's see. Hang for a couple minutes and wait. I got filled on the NVIDIA spread, folks. Nice profit in NVIDIA. Did it break the gap? Let's go look. It's hanging. I probably got filled on that dip right there. It's trying, folks. Look at that. You see each one of these lines? That's an options strike. 182.5, 177.5, 175. Do you notice that this stock moves around the option strikes? If I'm a betting man, and I'm not, I'm a trader, we're going to see 177.5 by Friday, not 182.5. So I'd actually reload. I'd probably do a 182.5 bear call spread out to Friday. Why am I rambling about this? Because I want to see if I got filled. I didn't. I might have to go all the way up to the ask, which I technically don't mind. I mean, what I'm arguing between $10 here, right? I mean, as SPX going down, let's just do that. I'll do that and get filled because I want to show you. Here we go. Let me show you the full position. I'm going to grab a screenshot of that. Let me put all these together, grouping. See, I already have one from last week. I doubled up. I shouldn't have done that, but it's in this model portfolio. So I want to show you the full trade as one. Okay. I'll grab a screenshot and show the full trade. I'll post it in the hunters there. But folks, you could have placed this as so SPX DV 923. Risking a little bit more than my, than the $5,000, but I'm very confident that we're going to see some pullback on the government shutdown. I could potentially make 17 grand. Remember, folks, that's the max potential profit. If SPX rolls over and starts heading down to the 20, you can slide along the P&L diagram and go, well, if it goes to here, I'll be up 7 grand. I don't stay. Very rarely do I try and stay for the 17, right? That's if we super implode. And you'll know that, right? You'll know if, holy crap, man, look out below. I'll hang. But usually, man, if I can make half that, if I can make 8 grand on the government shutdown, I'll close it. Okay. Let me grab a screenshot of the metric page. All right. Folks, we only go an hour. We're at an hour 22. So we'll go hour 30. I'll take 8 minutes of questions here, which I usually don't do because you should know what you're doing. SPX DV 923 metric. All right. Yeah, I posted that this morning. Atai had some, holy shit, Atai. You're welcome. Boom. Atai to the moon. I told you folks, buy the psychedelic stocks. I have a custom spread, 28%, MindMed, ripping. We'll talk about these tomorrow, folks. If you are not in MindMed and Atai, you are a fool. Okay? All right, let me start answering some questions. TS, would you look at rolling down and out if the shutdown continues? No, I'd love this to happen. There is no way in hell by the middle of October the government's still shut down and we're imploding. I mean, riots in the streets. So I wouldn't, I'm not a big roller downer and outer for this. This is kind of my trudge out in time, and I'm hanging. Terry, absolutely, you can dogfight. Yep, you can absolutely dogfight if needed. GG, why are the OCT 690 calls more? So why is divorce expensive? It's worth it. If you're seeing what is called skew, wait a minute, these at the money puts let me reverse it for your example. Holy shit, these at the money calls are way more expensive than those. That's a bias, right? That's more people thinking what? something's going up, then going down, right? So you'll learn that in your training. Stephen, I think funding shutdowns don't last very long. Is a Treg expiration 1 week later, 1 week earlier? Any advantage? Yes, Stephen, absolutely. I don't think they last long either. In the past, we could have gone to chat, my trading floor, and asked how long was the longest. Let's go look. How long was the longest government shutdown? But Stephen, to your point, we are talking about the past. This ain't the past, man. How long was the longest government shutdown? Holy crap. I forgot about that one. So Stephen, the longest federal government shutdown, 35 days, ladies and gentlemen. Holy crap. This is the one I was, that's right. Give me quick list of the top 3 longest shutdowns and what happened during the S&P 500 and the volatility index during those shutdowns. Folks, I used to have to walk over with my cup of coffee across our trading floor to go ask an analyst this question. And they'd look at me and go, hey, man, I'm really busy. Can I get it to you by the end of the day? 35 days. Dispute over border wall funding. The S&P entered the shutdown already in a steep correction, trade war and Fed hikes. This was oh my God, this was a bear market. 2018, folks, do you remember this? It was down like 20%. And then what happened, ladies and gentlemen? We printed money on the way. I remember this, Steve Mnuchin, my sister's partner from Dune Capital. My sister runs Dune Capital now. She was with the Treasury Secretary. By the time the shutdown ended, the S&P had rallied what? 13%. The Clinton one. S&P barely flinched. Stocks dipped modestly during the shutdown, but ended higher within a couple months. Okay. 16 days Obama. That's right, the ACA. The S&P fell 4% in the 2 weeks leading up to the shutdown, then rallied 3% as we got back to open. Wow. So let's go look at the bottom line, folks. Historically, shutdowns create short-term spikes in volatility and pullbacks in the market. But markets usually do what? They rebound. So, folks, you have to join today. Why? Because I will close that bearish double vertical for some nice profit when this happens. And then I'm going to do what? The exact opposite trade and print money as it opens. This is how we do it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I know barely flinched. So for the people who don't know what they're doing, let me give you your options weapon school basic training. Here's October. 1, 2, 3. The third Friday in October is October 17th. The October 25 options that I just showed you for a half an hour expire when? I'll save you the time of typing. October 17th. All those questions show me that you have no idea what you're doing with the trading options. When you see a month, oct, and you see a year, 25, that means the regular options expiration, which is the third Friday of every month. October 25 in that trade did not mean Saturday, October 25th. Everybody who is confused, you need to join Top Gun Options because you don't know what you're doing. Okay? Wow, there's a ton of shit. You got 1 minute. See, this is why you need to join. I'm not going to sit here and answer all these questions. I have an hour ass in my L-39 fighter jet. It hurts. This is a comfortable seat and it hurts. So we're going to wrap up. Bring your questions tomorrow, or you can join and you can get where? in the hunters and start asking me questions. Hell, you can even chat with me directly. Please don't take advantage of that. See the chat button right there? I'm going to chat with Wiz. You guys can chat with each other, but you can chat with me. If you ask me a trading question, I will not answer it most likely. Why? I will tell you to post it publicly so everybody can see it. Does everybody understand that? Everybody needs to see stuff. You can't just be chatting me like, hey, man, I have a question on this trade. Post it publicly. But if you have other stuff, I chat with people directly about stuff and shoot the shit. But, okay, any questions on that? Today's primary seminar. Is everybody in here? It says it right here at the top, guys. Sharon, I hope you're in here, man. It's right there. Full throttle. You click on this and it takes you to the register for tomorrow's brief. Folks, everything's at the top right there, man. Okay, so buy a tie, where do I find today's trades on solo Amazon? Well, there is an Amazon trade alerts thread right here. I did not place any Amazon trades today. I've been in a live trade brief for the past hour and a half. There was no Amazon trades today. But any Amazon trades are posted in the Amazon trade alerts thread where 634 members are. Okay, guys, once again, one more time, you got to join Full Throttle. I will close the doors to Full Throttle when we're full. Thursday, I will talk about our solo Amazon service. That's our gateway drug. Remember, go get your Maverick Mind on, man. If you are worried when you're trading, you are doing it wrong. When I make a ton of money, how am I? Okay. How am I when I get kicked in the jimmy? Okay. If you are not trading centered, man, you are doing it wrong. So go grab your Maverick Mind. The lady that emailed yesterday, I saw you ordered today. If you're going to order Maverick Mind or some merch, please do it like now. Because I'm still that old guy that runs to once we get super big, I won't be doing this, but Susie and I go run to the post office for you and drop the stuff in the mail. So go order both, man. Go order the night duty and the morning brief. And then eventually we're going to move all that stuff over to Sacred Warrior Fellowship. So go get your merch and go get your Maverick Mind on so you can trade centered. The replay will be posted. I'm going to get up and go for a walk because I've been sitting here for way too long. The replay will be posted right here. I don't know, about 20, 30 minutes in case you were late or but Sharon, do you see where to get in? It's at the top. Every time to enter a brief, folks, is right at the top of the member page. It's right there. Okay. All right, guys, I got to go. Good brief. Just ask me. If you got any questions and you're not a member and you can't chat me because you're not a member, shoot me an email, Wiz, WHIZ, @topgunoptions.com. All right, I got to go. Accelerated retirement tomorrow. Go look at a tie. Before you leave, let me give you this for all the new people. Go stare at this and get smart on the psychedelic names. Yeah, Sharon, email support @topgunoptions.com. Have a great rest of your day. Fights on. Namaste and Basi. Wiz out. I'll see you guys tomorrow or over in the Hunters. Cheers.